let's speak to the administration of President Mnangagwa now in Harare. What do they plan to spend the latest IMF inflows on? Let's talk to economist Eddie Cross, based in Harare. Thank you very much for making it on the show tonight, Eddie. What's the general sentiment in Harare right now around this fresh IMF SDR inflows of nearly $1 billion? Is everyone happy about it?
Yeah, of course we're happy about it. It's the first real recognition we've had from the international community that we're starting to do something right in Zimbabwe. And I think that's the main impact of this particular financial measure.
Okay, so what are you hearing about how the government plans to spend this $961 million special IMF allocation?
Well, the minister's made it very clear for some months now that his principal focus is going to be on trying to boost the productive capacity of the Zimbabwean economy. We have a funny situation at the moment in the sense that after a number of years where our economy has stagnated or even shrunk, and right now the economy is growing quite fast. The official estimate of the Mtuli is 7.4% this year. I think that's going to be conservative. And as a result, we're seeing demand on our local industry and on our ability to feed this growth being severely tested. So I think the main focus of the minister is going to be on boosting productive capacity, and I think that's the right place to put it. The one thing he's not going to do, he's not going to spend it on trying to liquidate some of our national debt. He might spend some on supporting the foreign exchange market, but my own personal view is this is not a lot of money. It's 14% of our total foreign exchange earnings per annum. $961 million is really, in our context, relatively small. Our national debt is about $17 billion. So I don't think this is going to have that much impact if it is spent on recurrent expenditure. He's going to spend some on, because the IMF guidelines make it pretty clear that this is what the primary focus is to try and alleviate some of the direct problems resulting from the COVID crisis. And he's going to spend some money on that, but it's not going to be the majority. The majority is going to go into the productive capacity of the Zimbabwean economy.
Very interesting. You touched on the FX market, because some reports say about $500 million of these $690 million or $960 million will be used to support the FX market. Why? And do you agree with that about $500 million should go into the FX market? What will it achieve?
No. Yeah, I don't think that'll be a wise use of the resources at all. And I think if we did do that, the fund would actually look upon that quite negatively. I mean, the fund's going to be watching what we do with this money very, very carefully, because last year we were denied access to the same SDR allocation by the fund, one of only 3 countries in the world. This year they've allowed us into the allocation, and I think we're going to be very careful about how we actually spend it. My own view is that figure of $500 million, I don't know where it came from. I haven't heard it from the minister myself. I would doubt it very much if he's going to use it for that purpose.
Specifically, when you talk about the economy, what sectors are you looking to see this infusion of funds that could help you continue to decelerate on inflation and continue to prop up your GDP outlook for the year in terms of growth? Would you be looking at mining, manufacturing?
Yeah, I think manufacturing will be a primary focus. I think quite a bit will go into agriculture, because a direct and immediate return in trade results. But I think we're struggling at the moment to meet domestic demand. So I think he's going to offer manufacturing firms cheap, reasonably long-term, 3 to 5 year money to invest in their capital infrastructure and to modernize. That also will help us become regionally and internationally competitive in some sectors where we're not competitive at the present time.
What about Zimbabwe's external debt? And you're talking about that, touched on that earlier, and the estimated $3.5 billion payments due to white farmers. How will that be resolved? Will it come under this particular IMF SDR allocation?
No, we won't use this for servicing our international obligations in any way. We're gradually working towards an arrangement where we hope to be able to reschedule our national debt on a comprehensive basis, a holistic basis, sometime in the next 12 months or so. Because our exports are growing quite strongly, at the moment they're growing at about 30% per annum, and because our GDP is expanding, suddenly we're moving into a situation where we might have the foreign exchange available from our own resources for debt servicing. And at that point, I think we would like to look to completely restructuring our national debt. If we are able to do so, say, for example, securing an international bond with which to settle our external liabilities, I think we could negotiate with our creditors. More than 50% of our national debt is penalties and interest. And I think most of our international creditors would in fact be prepared to cut our national debt very substantially if we had the resources to settle. The major outstanding pressure on the Ministry of Finance is his agreement to pay commercial farmers $3.5 billion before July next year in compensation. And I don't see how we can settle those liabilities without violating the principle of pari passu, where all creditors should be dealt with on a similar basis. And I think if that is the case, and I think it is going to be the case, I think this is one of the standard rules of international financial markets, then I think what we're looking at is a holistic approach to this national debt problem of ours.
You think the July next year is too close a deadline to make those white farmers compensation, $3.5 billion US dollars? Do you think there could be a review?
Well, we've already done one review. The farmers have already extended the deadline by 12 months. I don't believe a further extension will be possible. If we don't meet that deadline next year, I think the whole compensation deal will go into the basket for renegotiation. And we need to settle this because it's part of our history. It's a step in the right direction instead of recognizing the value of assets here. And I think it sends a signal to the international community. So I see lots of positives. But in our present situation, finding the liquidity to settle that without the assistance of the international community in terms of gaining access to international bond markets, that's going to be a tall order.
Let's leave it there for tonight. Eddie Cross, thank you very much. We wish you a great evening down there in Harare. Thank you and see you next time.